Hey, folks. It is pretty early in the morning, and we just had weather last night, which caused us to stay up until way the hell too late. So if my voice is thrashed, apologies. I have been playing around with a Shield Crush Juggernaut, but more specifically, Shield Crush of the Chieftain. I have another video called Shield Crush Chieftain from a few leagues ago, but given how much traction it has gotten, I think people are actually thinking it was a Shield Crush of the Chieftain build. But anyway, it wasn't, but I decided what the hell I would try it. So I have not run a T16 yet. This is pretty brand new, but so I'm going to run T16 Cemetery, and we're going to see how well this works together. Sure. Most of the time I just ignore the mechanic unless I'm specifically wanting to put all flames on. Okay, so... like, it does pretty decent clear. The problem is like anytime you have a rare that's even the littlest bit tanky, it takes a while to take it down. I was running a headhunter, which I switched off of last night because it seemed unfair to be talking about a build with a headhunter. So even though headhunters are super cheap this league, yeah, like, I mean, this is not a speedy mapper build. I've been playing it down in Delve, and that's where I've been getting a lot of my levels. And it does really good down in Delve. But given that a T16 is kind of the entry point to quote-unquote end game, I figured I should probably show it off doing a T16, not doing Delve, given that most people don't play Delve and wouldn't know whether or not it looked good down in Delve or not. So, yeah, I mean, like, it's fairly comfortable. It's really strong for as little hit points as I have. So I'm doing armor stacking, and I'll talk some more about that once I finish the map. But with endurance and everything else I've got going for me, I don't know, I've got around 250k armor, which is then getting converted to attack damage. The scaling of this build is a little bit weird because, yeah, I'm not going to add any altars. Sorry, folks. I just don't trust the build yet. Nor did I care about anything that one offered. I mean, if they give me a chaos altar, I'll try it. But yeah, like, so basically I'm trying to scale as much armor as I can, but also anything that is generic attack damage and anything that is generic fire or fire attack damage. So, that puts it in an awkward place where a lot of the scaling for fire is fire damage over time, and that's not really what we're doing with this build. I'm running Herald of Ash, which is causing those explosions. And it's also igniting, but it's not like really doing a significant chunk of its damage through ignites, so it's mostly initial hit. So scaling it like an RF character doesn't really work, which means all those tasty damage over time nodes that, you know, Marauder RF abuses are not really what we want to go for. But we'll talk about that in a bit. I'm just clearing out the rest of the map. We'll take out the boss. And I fully expect that the boss is going to take a few minutes because, you know, like, when there's a tanky anything, it sucks. This is a... I am running my most tame Atlas, which still has, you know, rogue exiles and map modifier effect and Sacred Grove and Nico. I don't remember there ever being a Righteous Fire Exile, but maybe I just killed them too fast on any other build. That was absolutely an Exile that had Righteous Fire. Okay. Yeah, you can see 250k armor. I've not picked up the node that gives me additional armor for strength, so that's something I'm going to do soonish. I will probably also pick up the node that gives me percentage scaling on strength, just to beef that up a little bit. Again, we'll talk about that. Yeah, I'm not going to do the breach, folks. This build is going to suck at breach. Most definitely going to suck at breach. And it suffers from all the same problems that melee builds do, where you need to rely on your totems. So I'm popping them down, or at least a few of them every time I stop to do damage. Okay, so let's clear this little area out. We'll go after the boss, and then we'll talk about the build. And like I said, I'm not super looking forward to this boss. Oh, yeah. Yeah, he's going down real slow. What the heck? That's got to be a visual bug, right? Okay, there we go. Because it looked like he had his health reserved. But, I mean, like, you can basically face tank stuff. I am not actually even close to ailment immune. So that's a thing. But I've got 23 stacks of fortification. I have... a lot of the time I have endurance. I didn't have it just then because it wasn't killing anything. But I'm about to pick up a node that'll fix that. So we'll go back home and talk about the build. Okay, so running Juggernaut, running the 4 usual nodes that you do with Juggernaut, especially for melee Juggernaut. Accuracy, stacking, not stacking, but just trying to get decent accuracy. I don't want to run precision. I could run precision, but don't really want to run precision. I'm picking up Iron Reflexes, which is converting any evasion that I have over to armor as well. Which is allowing me to use both Grace and Determination for scaling my armor. There's picking up Fortify there, and then Armor and Life. Armor, I'm picking this up to give me more reliable endurance charges. Went down into this shield node because it scales attack damage while holding a shield, and it also gives me a source of endurance charges while killing. Picked up Lavalash just to, scale fire damage a little bit. Divine Shield actually works shockingly well, considering how much armor we have, and also I have a decent amount of energy shield. I've got cluster set up, Martial Prowess, Gladiator's Fortitude, Veteran Defender, Fan the Flames to get some prolif on ignites, Cremator to get additional pops, which don't do any damage, but they just look cool. And it also is a little bit of protection against Detonate Dead. Then I'm doing Herald scaling with my other ones, so some generic Herald scaling, and then also some additional Ignite chance and elemental damage while Herald. Corrupted Blood Jewel, just to give me Corrupted Blood immunity since I'm not going down into this region to pick up a Protection Mastery. Right now I have 50% increased elemental damage as my Anoint, just because like that one is so good, but I didn't want to go into there. Just up for some more life. I'm running a Parandus Pact for 7% increased armor. Let's see, other novel things. I'm doing Forbidden Flesh and Forbidden Flame to pick up Tassalio Cleansing Water, so that I only have to care about fire resistance. That's mostly a lazy thing. Where's my other one? And I've also got Seething Fury, which is attack damage while holding a shield, and also some additional crit scaling. And I've gone into this crit wheel, and there's another crit wheel, yeah, up here. That but I mean, it's kind of a generic armor scaling strategy. For gear, obviously, Replica Dream Feather compared with Emperor's Vigilance, because I don't know that there's a better Shield Crush shield out there. I did not go after a corrupt. I just corrupted this to get it to 30% quality, because I've got Beastcraft that I can do that with. Circle of Anguish is I'm scaling my Herald of Ash a bit, and also making reservation efficiency. All's Uprising is not critical to the build. I just had this laying around because I delve, and I figured Free Grace would save me from having to do some shenanigans with like a Replica Dragonfang and Anointing Charisma to try and get all my auras. Most expensive item that I probably have is a Grasping Mail that has the armor increased by overcap fire resistance. This is usually a really expensive item. This league, it's only around 8 div. So this being cheap and this being a fairly decently rolled one, I would have loved to have had the one where armor is increased by overcapped fire resistance and evasion is increased by overcapped cold resistance, which would have been amazing, but those are outside of my price range. This is far from a perfect helmet, but it's giving me some physical damage taken as fire and socketed AoE gems, and I basically stuck my auras in it. So I mean, I've got 11% fizz as fire on this helm, which is not the perfect roll. The best option would be to get one that's actually comes from Betrayal, that's got the 10% on it, and then add the 6% on top of that. But for now, this is good enough, and also 7% recoup from fire damage. So yeah, I mean, this is a helm I had in my bank already, so it didn't have a ton of chaos resistance on it. Gloves, more fire, more chaos. Exposure on the gloves. Herald of Ash buff on the gloves. Boots. Increased armor and 6% chaos resistance. Mostly I was just trying to get as much chaos resistance as I could. And then This is a belt that I had sitting in my bank that had good chaos resistance and armor on it and life. And I specifically needed more dex, so I threw dex on it. And then gym is another thing that I had laying around that has chaos and fire damage with sword attacks and lightning damage with sword attacks and cast speed, which the last two things don't matter at all. But you know how it is. I mean, trash gyms are trash gyms. So, running both a granite flask and a jade flask, since both of those scale my armor. But yeah, that's kind of the build. Is it a comfortable build? Yeah, especially down in Delve, it feels really good. Am I gonna play it a ton? Probably not, because my Righteous Fire character is just a more capable Delver, and my elemental hit of the spectrum champion is a more capable mapper. So this was mostly a thought experiment to see what Shield Crush of the Chieftain felt like. And, I mean, in the grand scheme of things, it's a pretty cool ability. Like, I think it needs some love. Because, like, it does a lot of damage, but it doesn't do quite enough damage. Given that you basically have to be stationary while you're doing it, which means mapping is either you running around tapping the ability, or you charging around, gathering up a bunch of stuff, and then burning it down in a pack. And neither of those are super great map feels. Especially like with RF, you can just roll over top of things until you get something tanky and burn it by itself. And then, yeah, like I said, the elemental hit champion that I showed off the other day just explodes entire map screens at once. So, but yeah, like, I mean, I still like the concept of Shield Crush. I like the idea of hitting someone with my shield. But I'm not sure that it's an archetype that works terribly well, at least compared to other builds. But it is tanky, like, it's super tanky. Like I said, at rest without any buffs, I have 196,000 armor, and 1100 regen, at least cap on everything. So yeah, I mean, like, it feels good-ish, but anyway, I just wanted to show off where I was on this build, and really I record these videos as part of my blog posts. So I mean, I figure I'd post this so that I can include it in a blog. Anyway, hopefully you enjoyed it, and I will see you next time. Bye.